We are live, guys, and in the right format. Sorry about that. Facebook rotation, Apple, iPhone, who knows? Go!
Hello, darlings. They made me stand on my head, lie down, and...
shake it all about.
Yeah, why don't we do it in the road? I have no idea what that was all about. It's too highly testicle for me, because I'm an older person, you know. Speaking of an older person, I'll be 90 in about 48 hours, I think.
Birthday week!
If God spares me, so it's birthday week. And, excuse me, you can expect anything, because I've already begun celebrating, just in case I don't make it until the 14th. So here we go. Anyhow, friends, Roman and countrymen, we're back in the saddle again one more time. It's Tuesday. So I'm taking a deep breath now, because the final draft of my book is now ready. It's gone to the publisher, and he's checking everything out, checking it twice. And there's various people editing and double-checking and coming back and saying, are you sure you spell that way? And, you know, I'm an older person. What do I know? I just leave these things to the experts. So just to keep me out of mischief, anyway, I've started researching my third book now.
Oh, God.
Easy now,
God,
easy.
no,
Jesus Christ.
Jesus H. Christ and his orchestra. Oh, is that allowed?
Did Jesus H. Christ Orchestra have a saxophone player, though?
Yes. Right. Oh, I don't know. Saxophone player. Oh, God, we've got a sexy saxophone player for you today. In a few minutes. She's just warming up her instrument, if you pardon the expression. It sounds a bit sexual, doesn't it? But, you know.
Bit naughty.
All will be revealed in a little while. So, I'm working on my third book now, would you believe? And I've been digging up all sorts of weird and wonderful things. It's not like the previous two, it's something different. And I'm researching a lot of things. I'm finding out some very interesting stuff about...
crafty yarns about famous...
it's crafty yarns. I'm telling you some crafty yarns. So, there may be some connection with wool in there, or yarn as they call it in America. We call it wool in England. So anyhow, I'm just, I just hope that some of you benefited from the long weekend we've just had. So us being the busy little bees that we are, we've been soldiering on doing stuff. Ruth and Martin.
I see what you did there, soldiering on, and thank you to our veterans.
Oh, yes.
Very clever.
Absolutely, yes. Thank you to our veterans. God bless them. Yes. And, Ruth and Martin have created some new stuff which they'll be launching very shortly. And I just stay in the background and make the tea or make the ice or whatever. So, it's a new technology that they're working on. And I plan a day off on Thursday because I'm going to hit the big... What am I going to be, 90?
Yeah.
Oh, God almighty. Isn't it incredible?
You don't look a day over 89.
I know. Is she still here? And always look on the bright... Anyway, so I'm going to go out to lunch with the kids. I don't want to do anything wild and crazy. I might take the clothes off and dance on the restaurant table.
Dance naked at the traffic lights.
Yes, absolutely, yeah. To go down big in Denny's, don't you?
Better hadn't taken you to Chuck E. Cheese's then. You'll frighten the children.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I've been frightening children as a career move, yeah.
Yeah, I can
It
guarantee
worked
that.
for you, didn't it? But listen, I have got a lovely lady here. I've got Katja Rieckermann. Am I saying your name correctly?
Yes,
Because
perfect.
I'm a bloody foreigner, what do I know? This lady is from Germany, so we might have her, Martin Nethercutt, come on camera to talk to her
In a little bit.
In
a little bit.
Oh, he's got to have his hair and makeup done first.
Yes,
He's
right.
got to be just right. So, Katja, how about you? Come on
Without
over.
further ado, ladies and
Oh,
gentlemen.
yeah, the crowd goes wild. Yay! See?
Katya, baby.
Hi, Katja. Hello, darling. Thank
Hello.
you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. Hope you think so in half an hour from now. We shall see. So, I believe you know Ruth and Martin, don't you?
I do,
So,
yeah. I met them about almost a year ago
Oh.
at East West Studios, I believe it was.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Oh, really? Yeah. Who were you working with, or were they working?
Oh, I actually wasn't working there.
Oh.
We were none of
just
us were
hanging
working. We
out,
were just
yeah.
partying, drinking, eating.
Drinking Candace's champagne.
Exactly.
Oh, right. Jolly good, yeah. So, Martin's a fellow German.
That's right.
like this dear lady, so they'll be able to talk to each other in all that funny, scribbly language.
Alles klar.
Ja, natürlich.
Andrea Doria.
Moin, moin.
Moin, moin.
Oh dear. There will be translations later.
Yeah.
And there'll be questions and you can do your homework. So Marta lived in the north like you did. Where are you from exactly?
I'm from a town called Luebeck. That's where I was born. And I was raised in a smaller town called Bad Schwartau.
I like to ask how you spell that.
You really want to know?
Yeah, go on.
B-A-D,
Yeah.
and then there's a new word, and then it's S-C-H-W-A-R-T-A-U.
Imagine telling a taxi driver to take you there. Just take me to Munich, I'll sleep there.
The reason why it's two words, and the first word is bad, it's because it's a, how do you say it, Badeort? How would you say
Spa
it?
town.
It's
a
a
spa.
spa town.
Yeah.
Oh.
yeah,
Yes.
basically. So,
Bad is similar to bath.
yes.
Bath,
Oh,
exactly.
Bath.
Bath.
As posh people say bath, yeah, I see.
Those are the towns where they have what they call the core places, right?
Exactly.
Spa water, mineral baths.
Exactly.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, we have in England, we have Leamington Spa, which is
That's
similar,
right, a spa.
and they have great water properties and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
So
Very cool.
at what stage did you move to America? Were you in your early stages?
When I was 32.
Oh,
Yes.
So last week,
a week before last.
Well, it's
yeah.
been a couple of years more than that.
what I want to know is how on earth, as a girl going to school in Luebeck, presumably you had music studies, how did you choose the saxophone, and did anyone try and talk you out of it? Or?
Well, I didn't start playing until I was 21, actually.
Really?
Yeah. I wanted to play when I was younger, but my parents didn't allow me to because my brother, who is also a musician, he started playing guitar when he was 12 years old. And he was kind of rebellious, and my parents thought, they kind of figured if kids make music, they're turn into these rebels. So they wanted me to be like this nice girl, you know.
And you still are.
I don't know what happened. I really don't know what happened. I started blowing the sax and I'm still nice. So I really don't know.
Great. Good stuff.
So
You
yeah,
broke the
so
mold.
that's why I didn't start playing until I was 21. I had moved out of the house, and I didn't have any musical knowledge really, or experience. I didn't play. I didn't even play the flute. So
Wow, and how did you choose saxophone?
well, I wanted to play the saxophone when I was 12 because I was a big fan of soul and like funk and soul music, and I love to listen to like Al Jarreau and Huey Lewis and the News and
great.
Earth, Wind and Fire and Tower of Power. That was on Steely Dan.
Yeah.
So one of my influences was David Sanborn, who at that time played like on everything.
Yes.
Also all the pop stuff, all the rock stuff.
Yes.
So whenever I heard the saxophone or when I heard like horns, I would be like, oh my god,
This is
like I never really listened to lyrics of songs, but I always
the
listened to the horn parts,
Right.
and that's what I would sing along even as a kid. When I was listening to Earth, Wind and Fire, I would like hum the horn parts instead of the lyrics.
Interesting. Yeah, I was, as a kid, I was a big fan of Glenn Miller for that very reason.
Wow.
And then my stepbrother Paul had Howie Casey, and they actually formed a horn section with Wings for a while.
Oh yeah.
Yes, that's right.
That was always fascinating to me. The actual arrangements, like Earth, Wind and Fire, as you say.
Yeah.
And even back to Nelson Riddle, the string arrangements. Not what the lyrics were saying, but
Yeah.
the stuff.
Yeah, I think
there.
so was actually, with the exception of Sinatra, but otherwise it was always the orchestra that got me more interested. Yeah. So, how did your family react, or were they still around?
Oh yeah, they were still around, and they were fine with it. I mean, they had no choice.
No.
I was a grown person by
Yes,
that,
that's
by
right.
that time.
I see.
And, it's like not that they couldn't say anything like you can't do this.
Yeah.
So, but as you can imagine, I had to be very dedicated
Oh, yes.
in order to pick up an instrument within basically a short period of time. and become a professional musician. So
Must have been difficult.
so yeah, in my 20s I worked hard because I had to, you know, support myself. I had a job. I also went to university trying to make a degree in something, which then I gave up at some point. And in my spare time, I was in the rehearsal room practicing the saxophone. So when everybody
Well,
else
it's
went
paid
out to
off,
party,
hasn't it?
you know, I was
Yeah.
like playing until my lips were bleeding.
Oh my goodness. Oh, yeah.
But that was because I had a wrong embouchure too. I was biting too hard,
I see.
and I was like trying to sound like
Oh,
David
really?
Sanborn, and you know, I was like biting too hard. So I was like, ow, it hurts.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah. I
didn't
hadn't
even-
thought about that.
No, I didn't
Yeah.
even think about that either.
Mm.
Well, I mean, trumpet players, you think about the
The
pressure.
lips,
Yeah.
But
yes.
sax players, so do you have to wear some kind of...
Well, I actually do. The normal people don't. I actually only do because I wear like a guard.
Yes.
I really don't want to point out my crooked teeth, but I guess
Oh,
you
it's
were
all right,
making
we've all
me
got them,
now.
we're English.
Because everybody's about perfect teeth here, especially here.
Well,
but
yours
my
are pretty
teeth
fat and pretty
my-
white, I have to say.
They're pretty white, but they're pretty all over the place, especially these ones. So, as a saxophone player, you know, you play like this, so because they're kind of crooked, and these edges, they're kind of like, how do you say?
Sharp.
They're sharp, so that's why I wear like something like a little guard when I'm
Ooh.
playing.
Wow, so you're half football player, half sax player, huh?
That's right. Or a hockey player. Or,
Yeah, a boxer.
That's true.
No, he's too glamorous to be a boxer
Absolutely.
or a football player. I think it's fabulous. I'm so excited to have you here.
Well, thank you.
Because I remember Ruth and Martin telling me when they first met you, they were raving about you.
Absolutely.
And then when Ruth said recently, why don't you ask her if she'd come on TeaFlix? I thought, oh no, she won't.
Of
Want to come
course.
talk to an old fart like
I'm
me.
honoured.
Oh, I'm sorry, I just said fart. I'll cancel that. Right. Is fart allowed?
Yes, it's
It
allowed.
is now.
It's too late now.
Too late. Too late, she cried, yes. Yeah.
So you're in Germany, you're 21, you're playing the sax. How did you get started with all of these fabulous megastar people you worked with?
Well, I had to move to America first of all.
Oh.
When I was 32, I moved here. So I had been playing for like about, well, that makes 11 years. And I moved here, and then I just
Where in
went
America
out
did you move to first?
to Los Angeles
Yeah.
right away.
Yeah.
And my brother lived here already at the time. My brother was pretty well connected. He ended up becoming the bass player for the Scorpions.
Oh, I see.
So he played with them for a while.
Ah, well, you played with them, did you not?
Well, I did one little gig with them,
Oh,
which
I
was kind of
see,
fun.
yeah.
That was because my brother was in the band,
Uh-huh,
and
yeah, I
they
remember
did,
reading
and
that,
they
yeah.
did a tribute to, I believe it was Elvis Presley. This was in the 90s, and one of the songs had saxophone, so they asked me to play with them.
Great,
So it was a lot of fun.
Oh,
they
I
didn't do the usual Scorpions songs.
I
you
see,
know.
yeah.
So because
Fabulous.
Scorpions doesn't really have saxophone, even though it would
No.
be fun.
Yeah, it would. Yeah, you could liven them up.
That would be fun to play on the sax,
Yeah, yeah.
Barry or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
Yeah. So,
so from there-
Ruth, I think there was something you wanted to ask.
Yeah, no, so from there, obviously you did that one gig, but I mean, just coming to LA and
I
trying to
know.
crack the
Did you
doors
just
open.
come alone?
Oh yeah, that was the question.
Yeah.
Well, my brother lived here already.
Yeah, I see.
And he kind of introduced me to some of the great musicians in town, like session musicians. At the time, I don't know if you were probably here at the time as well. Do you remember the Screaming Cocktail Hour at the Baked Potato?
Yes.
It was a jam
Oh, yeah.
session that Teddy
Yes.
Andrealis did. Teddy is the keyboard player
Yeah.
that played with Guns N' Roses at the time. And he had this jam session. So I went there like every Tuesday night, and that's where I met a lot of musicians.
Yes.
You know, all the Toto guys, like they all used to hang out there.
Yeah, oh, the baked potato was a real hot spot.
Baked
wasn't
It
potato,
is.
yeah.
It
And
was when we
then,
first came.
so that's what I did, but then I also looked for like the first couple of years I was in town, because I didn't really know anybody else. So I just looked where was live music in town, and I just packed my saxophone. I went there, and I showed up and asked the people in the band there if I could sit in. Said, yeah,
Great.
yeah, you know, can I sit
God,
in?
that
I
must have
moved
taken some
here.
courage, mustn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you know, thinking back, I was really shy. I growing up, really
Yeah.
shy. So
Yeah.
I kind
Wow,
of
you
had to,
really
I had
jumped
to,
in
I
the
had to,
deep end.
I had to throw all that
Yeah.
aside and
Mhm.
just come
And
here
force
be
yourself,
like,
yeah.
force myself. So it was kind of interesting.
Well, it worked.
Well, when you play jam sessions with somebody, do you research who's playing that night and what song? Do you have to learn the songs ahead of time?
Well,
or-
back in the day, I didn't. I had no idea. I just would show up and just kind of like, hey, can I sit in with you guys? And then sometimes, or most of the time.
Well,
people
looking
would
like
say-
that, I'm sure they always said yes.
Well, sometimes people would go,
Yeah.
oh, you can't play, like
Oh,
that
really?
happened too,
Yeah. Oh.
just because they didn't think, you can be a girl.
That's right.
And
Yeah.
you can also.
Yeah. Well, thank God things have changed a bit since then.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Not as much as they really
That's
should,
true.
but
So-
yeah, it's
But
certainly
anyway,
improving.
so
Good.
eventually, that's how I met Carmen Rojas, who was the MD for Rod Stewart's band at
Uh-huh.
the time, and then that's how I got that gig.
Great.
She's just doing a little Rod Stewart name dropping
Yeah.
now. Did you
Just-
know?
Oh yeah,
I'll pick that name up for you.
Pick that name up for you.
it's actually Sir Rod Stewart.
Oh
It
yes,
is,
I
I
know.
know.
Yeah, he's got a title now on the top
I know.
hat.
Indeed. And
Yes.
he and his lovely wife, Lady Penny Lancaster, actually drink the tea that you were drinking, Penny Lane Peppermint, Mrs. McCartney's tea.
Oh.
And she likes the Penny Lane and he likes the Rockstar Rescue.
Oh.
Our friend Steve Tyrell gifts it to them from time to time.
Yes.
Oh.
So you see, we have
It's
more.
very nice tea.
We have something in
Oh,
common,
good,
you
yeah.
see.
Good, jolly good.
Awesome.
So how long were you working with Sir Rod?
14 years.
Really?
So from
Wow.
2001 till 2015.
Mm. Good.
Good grief. So you've been all around the world.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a couple of times actually.
Really? Yeah.
What are the best audiences for, reaction wise for that kind of, for rock and roll?
Wow. Well, for Rod, I believe like the most amazing concerts we did were like in South America, like down in Chile, and
Oh.
like
Yeah.
people. I mean, they're like it was
Crazy
amazing. I
guys, yeah.
thought. I'm only the band, and I remember like when we were like getting in the van, we were playing this. I don't know. It was like was it a festival or just a big stadium we played. I don't remember. But oh my God, I thought I was Michael Jackson or something
Yeah.
because people were like,
Yeah. So excited.
I was like, oh, this is so good. It was really crazy when we were like in the car in the van, leaving the venue.
Yeah.
So,
Wonderful.
yeah.
People say, a lot of rock and roll people, especially people like Bruce Dickinson and the metal guys, love South America because the South American and Mexican audiences are just crazy
Yeah.
for
They
rock
are.
and roll.
They just
They
let
are.
it rip,
They are.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Possibly because they grow up with
Catholic
the Catholic Church, all the rules,
Yeah.
be nice,
Yeah.
go to church,
Yeah.
say your prayers, and
Yeah.
there's all this
And strict
Latin
family
music.
regulations.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
And then out comes
So
the
it's like,
inner
get
rock
out
devil,
there.
right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They absolutely
Have you
love.
played Japan?
I was just gonna say that because that's the complete opposite.
Yes.
The complete opposite. I was only there once with Rod. Even though I would have loved to go back, but I don't think Rod likes it there, particularly because the audience is so opposite
Yes,
of that.
yeah.
He loves when,
Yeah, the
when the
feedback,
audience
of
when
course.
they go like
Well, that's
crazy.
natural, yeah.
And they're like very respectful. I mean, they love it there. They enjoy the music. You can tell.
Yeah.
But they are very respectful.
Yes. Yeah.
Interesting.
Just a different culture.
Yeah.
When I was singing and I played Russia, Lithuania,
Russia.
Latvia, Siberia, whatever, I loved the touring and I loved the people, but it was before the Berlin Wall came down, and they had the Russians, the Red Army, with the guns facing the audience, so they weren't allowed to get out.
Lined up
They
in
just
front of the stage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so. I mean, not that the Japanese are controlled that way, but I know from an artist's perspective, it's terrible when you think, "Am I going down well? Do they like me? What's happening?"
Yeah.
Now, and they
That's
wouldn't
wild.
applaud until they sort of got the comfortable feeling with the military at the front of the stage that it was okay.
Yeah.
And then they'd applaud. Oh, they like me, they like me.
Did you ever go to East Germany? Did you ever go like East Berlin or tour when it was still East? Did you ever go into the East?
No, because the wall had been down already. Like
When you started playing.
I started playing with Rod.
Yeah. No, that's the whole. I can't believe it's been 30 years this week.
Yes.
And you know what? It's actually interesting. I was in the U.S. when the wall came down.
You?
I was in Florida with a band called Katja. That was my first band that I kind of worked with. You know, making money.
Yeah.
So, and I'm kind of sad that I missed that event in Germany.
Yes, I'm sure.
You know, were you there in Germany
Where
when
were we?
the wall came down?
I was in Moscow. I actually got to announce it to a bunch of people over the phone.
Wow.
Because I was staying in one of the 2 hotels, the Ukraine, that had CNN, because only foreigners were allowed to watch CNN.
No, we were already in Woodland Hills, weren't we?
No,
I wasn't. No, I was there.
No.
Yeah,
Yeah, you were in Munich.
I was there. I was in Munich.
He was in Munich, I was in Moscow, you were in Miami. Crazy.
Yeah.
I can't remember where I was, but I was having a good time, that's for sure.
You were in the beer hutty.
I was in Munich, that's right.
In the beer hitter?
Yeah.
Yes.
In Pasing.
Beim Faltermeier.
No, not by Faltermeyer. We didn't know him yet, but
No, we didn't, just before we met Faltermeyer, wasn't it?
yeah,
Yeah.
crazy.
But
30
my
years.
goodness, between the lot of us, we all have so many places.
Yes.
See, I've been around the world and I. Who was that? Lisa Stansfield.
Right.
Wow,
God.
Ange, jeez.
Oh, I know. Well, I'm
Your
old.
trivia
Of course
level
I'm
of
old.
knowledge is amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
So tell
I
us
know,
all about your. I'm fascinated about your book and your
Yeah.
all your stuff on your website.
Oh yeah, this year has been kind of interesting because I had a couple of projects that got released that I had been working on for a while.
Okay.
Well, first of all, it's this basically collaboration I did with Sir Rod Stewart, the remake or cover of "Do You Think I'm Sexy?"
Right?
So that's been kind of interesting.
I
Did a
bet,
little video,
yes. Yeah.
and Rod was so kind to sing on it.
Good.
To re-record the vocals for me. So that's kind of exciting.
I bet.
I hope people really like it. It seems like it. It just came out about 10 days ago,
Yes.
and the response is pretty good.
Good.
So it's available on Spotify and iTunes,
Yes.
on Amazon Music, everywhere. There's a video up.
And KatjaRieckermann.com.
And on my website, KatjaRieckermann.com. That's correct.
Exactly.
I always forget to promote my website
Oh.
because I never think people actually go there.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
of course they do.
And I've got Instagram too. I need to start using that more.
You've come to the right place. These are the masters.
I'll give you
of
like
The
all
digital
of it.
diva.
Yes.
The digital diva, exactly.
It's Katja
Yeah.
R. Sax. Katja, and then R for Rieckermann, and then
Yeah.
Sax for sax.
Okay.
Do you think I'm
Cool.
sexy?
There you go. She's never heard that before. Okay.
So and then the book I wrote. This whole project about the book started with another project. Have you heard of Big Fish Audio?
Yeah.
It's a sample library project.
Oh, no, I
Sample
know.
library.
Yeah.
And I did a project for them called. They ended up calling it 70s Construction Kit. So it's really based around horn sections that
I see.
sound like the 70s, like Motown, Memphis Soul and Motown.
Yes.
Like. So I did a project for them with the producer of my first and my last CD, Jeff Carruthers, and my idea was to include like some saxophone licks for the
Yeah.
people, so they can build their own saxophone. Because what happens with these sample libraries, they purchase it, and then they can use the music that we
I see.
wrote and put their names on it.
Oh,
Basically
really?
say, okay, they buy it, and then they say, okay,
Interesting.
I wrote this.
Like
they,
a work,
they say that.
like a work for hire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Kinda?
no, because they're purchasing a product that's already done, that's already recorded.
Oh, interesting.
But then they can use whatever they want from it and build their own music and say, they can just use it how they want.
Wow,
So
that's
my
interesting.
idea was to include a lot of saxophone licks
Yes.
that they can build. If they wanted a saxophone solo, they can just, piece them together. Big Fish Audio didn't decide to use that, but in the meantime, I had already collected all these saxophone licks, that I had written out, and they were all like funky soul licks,
Right.
not like crazy jazz
Yeah.
licks, that are super long.
Yeah.
They're more like simple licks that I used in the pop, rock, soul, funk music, and I was like, why not write a book about it?
Yeah.
Because there's nothing out there. There's
Yeah.
a million books with jazz licks,
Yes.
but nothing like that.
Oh,
So
great.
I just self-released it. It's available on Amazon.
Yes.
I don't have a publisher, but I might be looking into getting a publisher for it to publish it.
Ah,
We might know a couple.
might be able to help
Oh,
with
yeah,
that.
cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
Very
Talk
cool.
later.
So yeah,
Good.
those are the
And
products.
so if folks go to your website, there's a link to Amazon?
Yes.
Great.
I actually have to make sure. Yeah, I think it's all in the news section. Like if you go to my website and then there's
The
a
news.
couple of news section. There's all. This
And what is the book called?
It's called 101 Soulful Funk Licks
Okay.
or Funky Soul Licks.
See,
Something
straight
like
about she doesn't know the name of it. What a girl.
If you put 101
blonde.
101 and funky, I'm sure they'll find
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Funky
Yeah,
soul.
exactly. That's
So you
true.
are
Yeah.
blonde.
Yeah.
So that makes.
Martin's
Mine
So,
is
so you
blonde.
are blonde? Is that what you said?
Yeah, you're blonde, so you can get
Well,
away
I'm
with
not.
it.
gonna
Happy
get
birthday!
Thank you.
No.
Nearly,
Oh, I think.
almost.
Oh,
Yeah.
hold on one second. You guys keep talking.
Yeah.
Well, I'll have to have a little lubrication
Yeah,
because I
it's
get
a
very
little
nervous.
A little
So-
lubrication.
There's a special, I believe, special thing.
All right, so I'm just gonna play
Oh,
Happy Birthday for your birthday.
thank you.
So here we go.
Everybody sing along.
Oh,
Awesome. Woo! Yoo-hoo! It's sexy
See you
bit.
next week, kids!
That's fantastic. Thank you so much. Everybody go to KatjaRieckermann.com. That's Katya
We'll
with a
type it
J.
up.
And I'll put the link in the broadcast shortly. And thank you for tuning in. And we'll see you all around the world. See you soon.
bye. Bye-bye.